Hi there, I'm James Osborne, the co-founder of the Recruitment Network, and this is the TRN Podcast. Every week, we unpack the strategies, the technologies, the processes and mindsets fueling today's top-performing recruitment agencies. We take a look behind the scenes of some great recruitment businesses. We listen to the real-life stories of those who have built those businesses, and we learn from some of the industry's greatest thought leaders to help you become both future fit and future relevant. So let's begin with this next episode of the TRM Podcast. Good morning. Yeah, good morning, everyone. I hope you're all well. It's 11 o'clock UK time. We're just going to give it a few minutes just to get everybody into the room. So if you're not here yet, hurry up and get in here. If you are here, just hang back for a minute and we'll just get the last few stragglers in and we'll get cracking from that. I hope you're all well. As we go through today, if you've got any questions at all, feel free to pop them into the chat. Feel free to ask them at any stage or ask them afterwards retrospectively. If those of you who are on the call today listen to the recorded version, because we are recording today, thank you for joining us. And if you obviously have any questions after today's session, once you've heard it back, then feel free to reach out to us as well. I'll just give it another minute and we'll get the last few people in and then we'll get going. Good to see some lovely new faces. Good to see some familiar faces and everywhere in between. Good. All right, perfect. Perfect stuff. Morning, Simon. Thank you. Okay, cool. Right, let's get cracking with it. So, firstly, thank you for joining us today. Lovely to see you all. My name is James Osborne. I'm a non-exec director and advisor to the recruitment sector, co-founder of the Recruitment Network. I'm currently, this backdrop behind me, I'm not just doing this to show off, by the way, it's the last thing I was going to do, don't worry. It's actually the coolest place in my house at the moment because of this heat wave that we've currently got. So I've gone down here today. So apologies for seeing weights and bikes and stuff behind you. It's my man cave, as the expression goes. I run these sessions all the time. These are opportunities for us to obviously get some of the members together. There's lots of guests on today's session. These sessions we open up to guests as a chance for me to share some ideas, give you a bit of thinking, show you what we're up to, hopefully give you some practical things that you can take away and utilize from today as well. I'm going to cover quite a bit today, as I always try to do. We will send you a copy of the slides, providing you're here at the end of the session. We'll send you a copy of the slides afterwards, so you can have a look back at that. We've also, as I said, recorded today's session as well. So if you want to go back and listen to it again, some people say to listen to me on a slightly slower speed. I don't take it personally, don't worry. Then you can do so as well. But hopefully this will be a useful sort of 45 minutes or so, just to get you thinking about what's going on, et cetera, as a solo operator. So let me share my screen with you, and I'm going to crack straight into it today. So one of the things that we're doing at the moment, we're running this whole series at the moment across the TRN community around what we're calling the Superagencies. These are those recruitment organizations, large, mid-sized, small, solo independents, who are significantly outperforming the market at the moment. They've really figured out how to get some really sort of good leverage in this current market, and they are now moving ahead at a real pace. What we're trying to do is share with the TRN community as much as possible about some of the things that they're doing that is working. So then obviously you can emulate, take some of their ideas and put those into place. Right, let's talk about what I'm going to do today. I'm going to talk about 5 things. And these are 5 ideas that I want you to maybe take away from today. I've actually got another session later on today with some of the solo members talking about exactly the same stuff. So if you're coming to that, cancel, just stay on this one. But this is about 5 things that I think you should be thinking about right now that I think will make the biggest impact to your business if you can get your head around this type of stuff. I think is really important. Just to put a bit of a backdrop to it, I think the reality is the market has shifted, the market has changed, which is fine. There's lots of things impacting our businesses now more so than ever before. And the question is no longer about how do you survive. If you haven't figured out yet how to survive in this type of market, then you're going to be left behind anyway. This is about how do you build an agency that you can really capitalize on this market and win market share, win more business, and so on and so forth. So this is what we're going to focus on today as much as anything else. There's lots of stuff being thrown at you as a recruitment business owner, whether you've got one person or it's 100 people within your business. You've got all this stuff that's happening around you, whether it be from the economy, from external stuff that's happening, technology, how workers are changing their behaviors, skill shortages, so it goes on and so it goes on. So it's an unprecedented time, but with all these changes and all these forces, that creates opportunity like never before. And I say this to everyone I speak to at the moment. The only thing that's holding organizations and recruiters back at the moment is your definition of what you're able to do, what is possible right now, and then most importantly, your willingness to get on with it and act. You can't just sit here hoping the markets will just get better and better and better and it'll all be okay. The markets are getting better, but you've got to build a much, much better business now moving forward if you really, really want to significantly increase your billings and your performance. I was chatting with one of the members last week. It was one of our solo members who's doing well over 600K now. And that's a really big shift in their business. And they're doing things really differently, but they're really enjoying the journey as well. It's given them a whole new lease of life, which I think is super exciting. We know the AI is playing its part in all this. We're going to touch on AI in a second. But we also know that AI is actually doing a lot of favors for the recruitment sector because it's driving people back to human recruiters now, which is really, really good news. So I'm excited by that because we know it's doing a good thing. And Sam Altman, who's the CEO of OpenAI, talked about that jobs apocalypse a number of years ago. He's now saying actually he got that wrong, and actually people still really value human interaction and human judgment. So actually recruiters, human recruiters, you guys are now more important than ever before, which is great, and everyone's saying that. So when you look at the different types of solo recruiters out there, the independent recruiters out there, there are three types. You've got those solo agencies that are still struggling, still trying to figure it out. You've got those that are rebuilding and restructuring and thinking how they can change their business models to really move forward and enjoy that journey. This is as much about enjoying the journey as it is about making more money and being more profitable. And then the third one are these super agencies that we're referring to quite a bit at the moment. And these are real life case study examples of solo independent recruitment businesses who are really figuring out how to make 3, 4, 5, 600K quite comfortably, maybe with a slightly different way of working than they're used to before. The struggling agencies, still very reactive, still weak pipeline. They've got poor client control. Performance is inconsistent. They rely on one or two clients, which may not be firing up at the moment. And they're not really using AI. They're sort of dabbling at it, or it's used very randomly. So hopefully none of you on the call today are one of these struggling agencies, because the reality is you're working really bloody hard, but your model's just tired. It's obsolete, and I'm afraid it probably will carry on being more and more obsolete as well. Not to make you feel bad, but just to remind you, just change and move on and get going and get building. Because if you're one of the rebuilding agencies, what they're doing now is looking at their niche, their structure, their pricing. They're changing the whole focus on sales, building better systems. They're using AI properly within the business. And there's a real focus and a shift now on how do I drive up margins? How do I drive up productivity? They've realized the old model needs to change, and they're starting to do something about it now. Good. And that's absolutely imperative. And then the super agencies are probably a little bit further down the track on that journey. And they've already started to operate differently. They've totally optimized their business. Everyone in the business knows exactly what good looks like, and they're sticking to it and they're focused on it. So they have a clear market position. They've got good loyalty with clients and candidates. You're acting as a consultant advisor. So you're actually engaging with your markets and consulting with them. You're using AI and tech properly now, and it's actually moving the needle. It's actually driving workflows. You're making decisions based on data, and you have this operating rhythm back in the business, as if you were, a contract business that's just got 60, 70 contract runners out. It's just humming away, churning and churning and churning revenue and profitability. So that's where I want to get you all today. And that's my obsession with the members at TRN, is how do I get every TRN member, whether you're a one-person business or a 101-person business, to become a super agency or something close to that. Where you're really starting to get some traction. And I do call this the Kodak moment, because it is a Kodak moment. You've all heard the Kodak story. Kodak didn't fail because it missed the technology. In fact, it was quite ahead of the game on the technology. It failed because it couldn't let go of the business model that made it successful in the first place. Think about that. You guys have all been successful. That's got you to here to where you are today. What has got you here today won't necessarily make you successful in the next stage of growth. Now's the time to evolve and adapt to that, whether that be your strategy, your products, your data, your tech stack, whatever it is, and whatever you see on this list here. We've got to think about, is it good enough? Is it future fit? Is it future relevant? If it is, then you will do well in this market. If it's not, you will struggle and you'll carry on hustling away without getting as much traction as you should do. Now, we're seeing this working. I'm not saying this because I'm trying to sensationalize anything or I'm trying to flog you anything. The reality is we're seeing more and more members of TRN now really figuring this out. Here's an example of one of the members. He sent me a message the other day. H2's closed out, so we've closed off their first half of the year figures. That's all been signed off by the accountants. And they've done more in the first half of this year than the whole of last year. Last year was a good year. June was also their biggest month since they set up the business, and they're currently averaging a GP run rate of about 360K. So that's a really nice shift from where they were as a business. So that's how we're seeing this working. We know it is working, and they're doing things that we're talking about today that are actually making an impact and making a difference. So hopefully you can pick some of these things as well. And at the retreat that we had fairly recently, where we brought 250 of the members together, we were talking about how we're now designing the future, not just trying to defend it. This is about building a business, redesigning the business for where your market is going, for where the recruitment market is going, rather than just protect how things have always worked. And that's what you've got to have a bit of confidence and a bit, I can't use a word there, but you've got to have the balls. You've got to have the balls basically to make a commitment and a deliberate commitment, say, design my business to make sure it's future fit, future relevant, and go and take market share rather than just defend what you've always done. So I'm going to touch on 5 things today to take away. I want to try and keep it practical. We're going to focus on restructuring how you work so you can act as like a 10-person business, even though you're a solo operator. Quickly touch on how you can build a suite of AI assistants that can do all the heavy lifting for you. So suddenly now you are a bigger team, even though it's just you. How do you reposition yourself so you're relevant to your customer base? How do you create new high profit, low resource, recurring revenue streams? So other ways of making money outside of just the traditional recruitment revenue streams. And then also how you're going to use AI to help you build out a BD engine that is always on, that's always purring in the background. So you don't have that rubbishy feast or famine stuff that some people, quite a lot of people still suffer from. So that's my agenda. I'm going to go through these five ideas with you to share with you. I'm going to try and keep it practical so you can actually implement this stuff later on today. The first one is about restructuring or structuring your business, depending how you want to look at it. Nothing too complex in this, but it's a bit of a principle shift that you need to be thinking about within your business. There's a new operating model now running across most businesses, recruitment or otherwise, which is a blend of human beings and AI and offshoring human beings, all this type of stuff. So it's a different type of way of running a business now. Adecco cornered this last year when they joined forces with Salesforce and set up Our Potential, which is a business they created between Adecco and Salesforce to go and actually place not only human beings, but also place AI agents alongside those human beings. Just think about that conceptually. Really great opportunity in the marketplace if you can get your head around that. But ultimately, look at your business model as you as a human onshore doing the high touch client work. But then you might have a team that are offshore supporting you on that process. And you might have a team of AI and worker bots doing a lot of the heavy lifting for you as well. In fact, you should have. So if you were building out an org chart for yourself, for your business, which sounds like a ridiculous thing to suggest 5 years ago as a solo operator, your org chart might look a little bit like this, where you've got all these different components working for you around it. So you might have an AI components, workflow management, your AI agent workers, your outreach automations, etc., doing all that heavy lifting. You might have a whole bunch of outsourced support functions, so maybe over in South Africa or wherever, helping you with your marketing and your finance, etc., and so on and so forth. And all those things around you are supporting you to free you up to do your best work, to get out and win more business and be a higher performer and so on and so forth. So it sounds like a crazy thing to say, but imagine you're going to build an org chart for yourself. That's what your org chart will look like. It's a team of 10 people, albeit some of those people are offshore, some of those people are AI worker bots and AI agents. So the first thing I want you to think about is, what does the structure look like, and how can you use offshoring and how can you use AI to support you and be a 10 times business than you are today? You build out your agents, you build out, like we've got on our agent hub, where we have different agents that we're sharing with different members, etc., etc. So you have a whole team of agents that are working for you, doing different things. And then you think about, therefore, the skills that are left for you to do. So I've got, yes, my technical skills to allow me to build these super agents and build all these worker bots, etc. I've also got to make sure I'm being consultative. I'm really focusing on my ability to go to market and act as a true talent consultant, not just a recruitment business. And then I've got all those classic human sales skills: trust, influence, comms, communication, empathy, negotiation, etc. So if I looked at the skill set today of a real high performing solo recruiter, it's these 3 areas here: consultative selling to be able to do win proper business, technical stuff to be able to drive and build the AI strategy that sits behind it, and then being really human on that sales stuff and getting out in front of customers to build trust, influence, and empathy and negotiation. So have a look at that list there and think about where do you fall short on that, and maybe what do you need to do to improve those types of things. So first thing for you to think about is actually where are you sitting on that schedule? What does your org chart look like? And are you going to take a bit of a leap of faith here and think about what your team might be and how you can offshore that or build it in using some of the stuff we do on the AI program, like Traction, for example. Okay, the second one is AI assistance. Now, as many of you know, if you've done anything with me, I'm massively into AI. I love it. I think it's brilliant. I think it's brilliant for our businesses. I've just literally hired in TRN our first head of AI. So he starts with us in a couple of weeks' time. His job is literally just to do AI all over my company, which is great. As part of the processes that we're rolling out to the TRM members. So think about building an AI assistant, and I'm going to show you a quick practical way of building AI assistants for you. This is using Claude. Again, on the Traction program, we talk about different tools that you could use in different LLMs to build AI. Let me just focus on one area that we touch on Traction, which is about using Claude to build some AI worker bots and AI agents for you, or AI assistants. As you know, if you're using Claude, those of you who use Claude currently, if you don't, just sit back and just listen. If you're using Claude currently, you can go into Claude, you can build projects, and your projects are like building AI agents in the same way we build GPTs in ChatGPT. So this is me just sort of building out an agent here for a new lead gen, for example, and you save that, you build it out, map out the instructions, add in the files, and off you go. So these are me building out an AI agent. There's another way, however, of using Claude to act as an AI assistant for you. And I'll explain to you how that sort of works. So rather than just using AI to answer questions, like a lot of people do, they just ask it questions. I've got a question about this, or I'm going to book a holiday, or whatever it is. Think about actually connecting Claude to some of the systems and the tools that you've already got, which you can now do really easily. So for things like, it can help you find out opportunities that maybe you've forgotten about. It can help you follow up with people that have never replied to some of your emails. It can draft personalized emails and messages for you. It can organize your diary for you. It can create daily action lists. It can continuously monitor your communications without you having to remember to do anything, etc., etc. And certainly a lot of the solo recruiters that I work with across the TRN solo community, a big challenge for them is staying focused, staying organized, staying structured, staying on top of stuff, etc. And Claude can now help you with that really, really easily, which is good. So let me show you an example. A lot of recruiters, I think, lose business because they're not following up consistently with their customers and with their outreach and etc. So in your inbox, you've got lots of warm prospects that have never actually replied to your messaging. You've got candidates who may have gone quiet. You've got clients who said, yeah, sounds great, but maybe not right now. You've got conversations that simply are just getting forgotten. So using Claude and connecting Claude to your emails and your calendar, and even to your LinkedIn for that matter, it means you can get Claude now to identify lots and lots of new opportunities for you, which ultimately will create more meetings for you, more placements, more deals, more productivity, and all that sort of good stuff, really. So how do you do that? Well, a couple of very quick workflows. I'm not going to do this right with you now, but just show you. Here's an example workflow you can build out with Outlook and Claude. So by connecting Claude to your Outlook, you can ask it to search all of your sent emails from the last 3 to 6 months, identify everyone you've contacted about a specific campaign who never replied. You can get it to produce a prioritized follow-up list off the back of that, draft a personalized email for each one of those contacts based on the previous conversation you had with them. And then it can save each email as a draft, sitting in your draft area, ready for you to go through it. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Send. So it doesn't automatically send it for you. You have to check it first, which is a good thing, etc., etc. So that's one way. Right here, right now, you can plug Claude into Outlook to get it to be an AI assistant for your Outlook for you. Does that all make sense? Just give me a yes or a thumbs up in the chat so I know that roughly makes sense. I haven't given you the full guide on how to do it. I can share that with you afterwards. I just want to make sure you understand the principle of basically, as a solo recruiter, I've got Claude as my AI assistant, managing my inbox and my outbox for me, my sent items, etc. That's pretty empowering when you sort of think about it. And yes, you can do a similar sort of thing with Gemini, etc., with G Suite and so on and so forth. Another example is connecting Claude to your calendar. So I can get Claude to review tomorrow's or this week's calendar. I can get it to prepare a daily briefing for me. It can prep all those meetings for me beforehand. It can suggest my key priorities for the day and then create me a nice daily task list. Imagine that, you as a solo recruiter, wake up in the morning and go, what do I do today? Right, great. Claude's going to tell you what you need to do based on what's going on within your systems and within your calendar already. And you get this nice AI generated briefing every morning. Now, if you train Claude properly, it's really, really targeted and really personalized, which is fantastic. Third thing you can do if you want to, that's outside of Claude, outside of Outlook, is that you can do a LinkedIn AI follow-up agent. Now, remember, you can't plug Claude into LinkedIn directly, but you can reverse engineer this. And these are some of the things that we're talking about on the Traction program. So what you can do is you can go into LinkedIn and request a data archive to pull out a whole load of historical data for you. You can then upload that archive into Claude. So rather than connecting Claude into LinkedIn, you're putting your data out of LinkedIn and connecting it back into Claude. That gives Claude access to all your historical conversations that you've had on LinkedIn. You can then prompt Claude to analyze that, look at every conversation, identify who were the first degree connections, who were the prospects that I've messaged or candidates that I connected with, or anyone that never replied to those conversations or the conversation just stopped. And I'm going to ask Claude to then, on the back of that, write a personalized follow-up message for each of those contacts, reference some previous conversations, prioritize the best commercial opportunities, and then continue working through that list in the background, etc. So again, now, even though I'm not plugging AI directly into LinkedIn, which you can't do, what I can do is pull the data out of LinkedIn and then plug it into my AI agents to then go and do a whole lot of cool stuff with. Okay, does that make sense? Just give me a thumbs up or a yes in the chat. So I know that will sort of make some semblance of sense. And these are some of the simple ways that you could be using Claude, AI, any form of LLM for that matter, to create personalized assistants working for you. Solo Recruiter, now got a team of 5 assistants doing a load of the heavy lifting for them, keeping you on track with different things and so on and so forth. So there's just some ideas to think about. So the second thing for you to take away is how are you going to start using Claude or ChatGPT or some of these assistants to help you. Again, if you need help with this, come on the Traction program, 4-week program. We show you exactly how to build these agents out, how to plug all this stuff in, get it going properly, and some really cool use cases as well of how other people are doing it and so on and so forth. Okay, third point I want to talk about today is your positioning, or maybe your repositioning for that matter as well, what you look like within in front of your customers. The market itself is not in a crisis. A lot of people think the labor market is broken. It's not. It's just resetting how it's working. We know that for a fact. Look at all the data, it tells you that. So we haven't got a labor market crisis. We've just got a labor market that is now resetting. Your job is to make sure that you stay relevant. That's absolutely critical here. So how do you stay relevant in a changing market in front of your customers? And this is a positioning thing. Outside of AI and everything else, this is how you position yourself with your customers. So let's start with the research. We've got a report from 137 TA leaders. So these are leaders of large organizations who are in charge of all the hiring of those businesses, your customers basically, to ask them some information about what they thought of about the recruitment sector and what do they want to see from recruiters moving forward and how's that all going to work. The good news is that recruitment is not disappearing, but average recruitment is disappearing. Only 3% of all the TA leaders that were spoken to said agencies just provide a limited value. A lot of them are saying, we think there's a lot of value with a recruitment company, which is good. But what they're saying is we're not abandoning agencies. We're not going to stop using recruitment companies. But what we are going to do is start using fewer, better partners. There's a big difference. So less of that rubbish, multi-hire, multi-agency contingency stuff, and more, I'm going to partner up with you and I'm going to work directly with you, and you're going to be my go-to person to help me properly sort out my recruitment, because it's changing and evolving. It's different now. I need your help. They're also saying that the internal TAs are not your enemies. Don't try and get around us. We are your buyers and we are your future partners. So work with us, engage with us as much as you can. And then the third thing they're saying is that value now has moved upstream. Their expectations of value from a recruiter is no longer just about CV flow. It's about, we really desperately want your insights as much as we want your access to specialist talent, stuff that we can't find ourselves. So this is about fewer relationships with better recruitment businesses, providing more value, not about working with less recruitment companies in total. Does that make sense as a general principle? And this is coming from your customers. This is not me saying this. This is what your customers are asking for. So all the things that we're talking about and all the programs that we've launched recently align to this perfectly. Your customers are saying, I'm looking for partners, advisors, specialists to help me with this type of stuff. I'm not just looking for a supplier anymore who can respond quickly to roles at low cost value, low value, and just increase the CV flow. I want fewer suppliers, but I want deeper relationships, better standards for that matter as well. So think about your HR customers, think about your TA, your end users, and think about what are their priorities. I often show this list here. These are the top priorities of HR practitioners at the moment. These are not some sort of random list that we've created. These are buying triggers. These are your customers saying, hey, put my hand up, help me. I've got an issue with upskilling. I've got an issue with talent shortage. I've got an issue with how to re-engage my workforce. I've got an issue with retention and engagement and so on and so forth. I'm trying to understand how to do workforce planning. These are not just a random list of things for you to ignore. These are buying triggers. These are things that are saying, help me with this stuff. And if you can help me with it, I will pay you some money accordingly. Okay. Does that make sense? Really important to understand that, because this is such a massive opportunity now. And this is why quite a lot of the recruitment companies that we're working with are really evolving their product offering to be able to provide products and services that support these things as much as just finding new candidates and finding new talent. Think about your relationships with your customers. Think about, where do you sit currently with some of those customers? Are you just a transactional supplier, or have you got a relationship that's well beyond just a hiring manager and that type of thing? Think about that. Do a bit of an audit. I'll send this through to you afterwards, and you can do this in your own time. And then think about how you're adding value to your customers, but even before a role exists. The smart recruiters are consistently showing up even when their customers don't have jobs or vacancies to go after. And more importantly, the smart ones are showing up and they have something to sell, even though the customers aren't buying recruitment, they're buying other stuff right now. It could be market mapping, it could be EVP positioning, it could be hiring strategy development, whatever it might be. Your customers are paying for this, they're buying this right now, they're asking you for it. Go and build products and go and sell this to them. So even if they're not hiring, you're still able to monetize and make money for them. We know that for a fact, and this again is what your customers are asking for. Okay, so we'll share this stuff with you. It will help you think a little bit about your product and your service offering, and most importantly about how you are positioning yourself in front of your customers. Stop when you're pitching, therefore, going in with your sales pitches, describing your agency, about what you do, how you do it, how good you are, etc. Start by owning a problem, one of those challenges I showed you a second ago, and go in there and talk to your customers about those challenges. You can then walk into any one of your customers' boardrooms right now because they're asking you for it. Remember, recruitment is not disappearing. The data shows us that, but average recruitment absolutely is. And I want you to all think about, as a solo operator, what are you actually famous for? What are you known for? And how are you taking that to market? What problems are you solving for your customers better than anybody else? Okay, and if you're not doing that, basically you're invisible. It's as sort of simple as that. Okay, so again, I'll share these with you, a bit of an activity for you to do later, to think about what you are famous for and actually how does that represent in comparison to what you're doing. If you get your head around that, this will then take you to the Pinnacle program that I talked about. I can't stress how important this is and how much of an opportunity this is. Those recruitment businesses that are selling stuff from the Pinnacle program now are seeing 35% plus margins again, which is brilliant. And these are customers who currently aren't hiring at the moment, but you're selling other things in between time. I think that is super, super exciting. Okay. If any of you want a copy of the Pinnacle program, let me know. We'll ping it across to you so you've got a copy of that, and go and figure out a new product suite over the summer to take to market in September, because it's such an opportunity right now if you want to make some serious cash in recruitment. Okay. Fourth one, new revenue. How do you generate new revenue? This leads off the back of that slightly. Again, we talk a little bit about on the Traction program about how do you build AI stuff, use AI to build products and services that you can now sell to your customers. It's a really cool program that you can help you build this out and utilize as much as anything else. Over the last cohort, which is finished on Friday, I've set everybody on that cohort. We always have 100 people on each of these cohorts. One big summer AI project to work on. That's what they're all working on over the summer, and they're going to sort of regroup on that and let me know how they're getting on. That could be something internally. So they're going to use AI to build something that's going to increase their internal performance and productivity to make them more streamlined, more effective internally. Or it's going to be something that's going to give them an additional revenue stream or a reason to engage with their customers in a different way. So you can build something here, either internally or externally, using AI, generally for free. On the internal side, it could be any one of these things. It could be agents that are doing client proposals or market maps. It could be automations that are doing your candidate outreach for you, etc., etc. It doesn't really matter. As you know, we're building lots of lead gen agents and so on and so forth. So their summer project could be building half a dozen agents that do these things for them. So their social media management. So when they wake up on a Monday morning, all their LinkedIn posts and content is done for the week, already created by their marketing agent and so on and so forth. So it doesn't really matter what you're doing, but if it's external, then let's build something that creates an additional revenue stream for you that you can charge your customers for, again, even if they're not hiring at the moment. And I'll show you an example of that in a second. But the way to sort of go through this process, again, I want to keep this practical today. is let's just go into ChatGPT. You can all do this now if you want to. Just go into ChatGPT and go, hey, this is my ICP. I plugged in my ICP. I've already told it who I target, what sort of companies I target, and just ask ChatGPT or an agent, if you've already got one built, what are the biggest talent challenges facing my ICP right now? Just ask the question and see what it comes up with. And what it will come up with, there's a whole list now on all these different challenges that your customers are currently facing, not just about finding candidates, other stuff around them. Then you go back into ChatGPT, you go, hey, based on those core challenges, now create a list for me of 20 different tools that I could build for free using AI that would help them with those challenges. So I want to build some stuff that I can either give them for free as a way of bringing in new customers or have a reason to talk to my customers outside of the typical cadence of hiring, or I'm going to start actually monetizing and selling as well. So that will then produce for you a nice list of all the different things. So here's some examples of some of the things that you could build. You then pick one of those things. In this case here, an AI-powered market mapping agent is what I'm going to choose. And that's going to be my AI summer project to go and build that using AI for free to build a really cool mapping agent I can either give away or charge my customers for. And actually what you're seeing on the right-hand side here is one of the members I worked with a couple of weeks ago, and we've actually just built this for them. They've taken it to market and they're going to be monetizing this. And I promise you now, this will be a bigger than their contract book will ever be. And it's going to be a recurring revenue model where customers can access this whole market mapping tool. But we built this for free using AI in a very, very short space of time, in probably about 15 minutes, I think it was. Amazing what you can do with this type of stuff. And that's really exciting. But you need the thinking first. That's why we talk about, okay, let's look at these summer projects, these AI projects. Let's go and build some stuff, new tools that we can take to market, new products and services that AI can help us with. Let's go to those list of HR professionals are facing. Let's build stuff to help them solve these problems, to help them with these priorities. Because if you do that, then you can start building products that either you can charge for, or at least you can engage with them with, etc. And again, here's some more examples of things that you can build. We've built these out with AI, different types of things that are actually your customers are asking for right now, which is really good. You just don't have them right now. Build them, take them, and off we go. So process for you to take away. Who is your ICP? Who's your ideal customer profile? What are their biggest talent challenges right now? Based on those challenges, go and build a bunch of tools, or go and make a list of a bunch of tools that you could build using AI to help you with those challenges. Then pick one and then go and build it out and go and take it to market in September. If you want help with that, give me a shout, because I love this sort of stuff. I can show you examples after examples of what some of the members are building out right now. Remember, the only thing that's holding you back is your definition of what's possible and getting on with it and doing something about it. Okay, so that's another bit of homework for you to take away and sort of think about. And then the final thing I want to touch on today is around new business, winning new business generation. These are 5 random things I've talked about today, by the way, but at least 5 things that actually make quite a significant difference as your solo operator to your business. Now, remember, with AI, you've got 3 types of AI. You've got what we call co-pilots, which is where AI is working for you. So like creating an agent that you trigger to do something. You've got autopilot, where you've got AI working in the background for you. So it's on 24 hours, 7 days a week. And then you've got mission control. Some of you who've heard me talk about my mission control platform we've created for the members, you'll understand when I talk about that. But for the sake of today, what you want you to be focusing on really is your co-pilot and your autopilot, building out agents that are working in the background for you, feeding you leads every day. And I love the idea as a solo operator. I wake up on a Tuesday morning. The first thing I do is go into my mission control or go into my emails. And in there is an email from my AI agent saying, overnight, we've generated another 15 leads for you to follow up with. These are the people you need to speak to. These are the reasons why you need to speak to them. These are their contact information. Now crack on and pick up the phone and get on with it. So, my God, what a perfect morning I've now got. All the leads there for me generated by my agents. And that's how I want you to be thinking a little bit when it comes to using AI for new business development. I'll show you an example of that. Some of you have heard me talk about this before. We do a lot of ambulance chasing in recruitment, where you're running around chasing live vacancies. So you're going to job boards and scraping job boards to see who's advertising for jobs at the moment. And then you go and pick up the phone and go, hey, I see you're advertising. Can I help you? A little bit too late. It's a little bit like ambulance chasing as insurance companies do. So think instead about hiring triggers. Think about the things that you will see in your customers that will mean they will probably be hiring down the track. Here's 12 hiring triggers that I think every recruitment company, every recruitment solo should be monitoring. It could be all your customers who've just got some investment. It could be a change in the senior management team. It could be a restructuring program. It could be a change in their LinkedIn headcount growth. LinkedIn headcount. It could be they just launched a new product, etc., etc., etc. So these are all hiring triggers. Smart recruiters, smart solo operators have built agents that monitor all of these triggers and notify you when one of these things has happened, because it's a hiring trigger, which means that customer will probably be hiring in the next 30, 60, 90 days time, because this has just happened. So you're well ahead of the game. You're well ahead of all the ambulance chasers as much as anything else. An example I've talked about many, many times over the last couple of months is one example is an office lease agent. This is Charlie. We built Charlie during the Traction program. Had some great results off the back of Charlie already, which has been fantastic. And Charlie's job is to identify any customers, any of your target customers who've just signed on a new office lease. What Charlie will then do is identify who has signed a new office lease for you, notify you about that, look at LinkedIn to find out basically how many staff have they currently got on LinkedIn. The difference between the two is probably how many people they're going to be hiring over the next 30, 60, 90 days time. A very simple example of an AI agent that is doing lead generation for you overnight type stuff. Nice and simple. This is Charlie here, and we built this particular Charlie in ChatGPT, and you can run him at any stage, or you can get him to be scraping the internet, and he'll come back with all those new office leases that have been signed. And on the back of that, I now know these companies here are all hiring and expanding. What a great opportunity for me to go and do some business development work with them, etc., etc. Get the idea. So that's hiring agents. That's keeping ahead of the game. 12 examples on the screen here. There might be other examples based on your ICP and your target audience, but ultimately get some AI agents building around you as your sales team that are feeding you new leads and new opportunities as much as anything else. And I think the guys actually have just put the Charlie agent into the chat. So if you click on that, you can all actually access Charlie and save him if you want to, and actually have him with all your own ChatGPT and with your own GPTs as well. And then here's some other examples of other lead generation agents that we've been building. This is just one example for an SAP recruiter, or he's a solo operator, but he just focuses on SAP. So we built out a whole load of different agents that do different things for this guy. Really easy stuff. Some of them are scraping industry conferences and events for contact names. Some are looking at that job board activity we talked about. Some are scraping company financial reports. Seeing it with basically who's expanding, investing, looking at news articles and press releases. We've got agents that are scraping company updates or analysis reports. We've got agents who are digging deep into tech forums and communities, looking even at industry awards and who's won some new awards, tapping into different partner networks, government contracts, trade publications, so it goes on. These are all agents that we built whose job is to autopilot in the background, and every day, if there are leads, feed a new lead into this solo recruiter. So they've got access to all this new leads overnight sort of stuff. And so many opportunities you've got to create these things. And once you've built these things out, jeepers, that's a whole new sales force you've now got to support you for free, which obviously is pretty empowering when you think about it. And that's a wrap for this episode of the TRN podcast. Thank you for listening. And make sure you grab the free episode toolkit. All the links are in the description. And click follow in your podcast app so you can get notified of our next episode. If you want to get more out of your business and your people, then please unlock 30 days from our platform, TRN World, for free. And help yourself to all our training content, our guides, our templates, and peer insights. You can get started at trnworld.com/trial. And finally, if you found this episode of the TRN podcast of use,